Art, round 2 of this 3-round matchup between the Wave and the Blast. Blast took round 1 with a thrilling 6-5 victory a week ago. Tony Donatelli with a goal with just a few seconds remaining to account for the difference. So Baltimore, at that point, had won 9 straight, saw their winning streak come to an end last night in Cedar Rapids with a close 6-5 victory for the Cedar Rapids Rampage, who, by the way, is going to be Milwaukee's first-round opponent in the playoffs. How do you look at tonight's matchup? Any particular adjustments you might see the Wave make, or perhaps the Blast?
Well, I guess the big question is who's in and who's out tonight for both teams. So we know William Vanzella, the all-star goalkeeper's out, and Joey Capinos, who played really well last weekend against the Waves, going to be back in the nets, and he'll be a big factor tonight. But Andre Hayne, I spoke to Giuliano Oliveira earlier this week, and he said Andre was questionable for this game. So if Andre Hayne is back, that'll be a big addition for the Milwaukee Wave. But really for the Wave, it's Max Ferdinand and Marcio Liete are the guys that really got to get going offensively from a goal-scoring perspective. Neither guys has scored in the last 4 games, and they're going to need Marcio and Max to put the ball in the back of the net here coming down the stretch.
Ian Bennett still maintaining the hot foot, had a couple of goals, couple of late goals to tie up that game against Baltimore. And it does indeed look like Andre Hayne is on the lineup sheet for tonight, along with Daniel Matos, another guy who's missed a lot of games with a sore ankle. So hopefully the Wave is getting close to full capacity and is going to be able to get these guys back into the lineup and get them ready for the postseason, which is only 3 weeks away.
Right. Well, Daniel Matos, number 14, where he'll really help the Wave is on the specialty situations, the restarts and power plays. And as I spoke to Danny Kelly, the Baltimore Blast skipper here moments ago, he says the same thing every time. Good possession, 5 behind the ball. And then the one thing, once again, the specialty teams are going to be big. The Wave can kill penalties, can score some power play goals, score on their restarts. The team that does that and wins that battle has probably a good chance to win this game tonight.
The longest running rivalry in North American professional soccer, the Milwaukee Wave and the Baltimore Blast. Getting ready to get it on here at the Milwaukee Panther Arena. We'll come back. More is Wave Soccer. Welcome to the UW Milwaukee Panther.
And welcome back once again to the UW Milwaukee Panther Arena in downtown Milwaukee, Wisconsin for tonight's Major Arena Soccer League game between the Milwaukee Wave and the Baltimore Blast. Tom Wynn along with the Wave Hall of Famer and legend Art Kramer greeting you from Panther Arena. And as we mentioned in the pregame, game 2 of this 3-game series, if you will, between the Wave and the Blast, with the Blast going to Cedar Rapids last night and suffering a 6-5 loss to Cedar Rapids, but the teams will play again here today after meeting last week with a Baltimore 6-5 victory here. Tony Donatelli with the late game winner with just about 8 seconds remaining in that one, and then the two teams will meet again this upcoming Friday at the Seco Arena in Townsend, Maryland, home of the Blast. That will be a 6:35 Central, 7:35 Eastern time game. So once again, we welcome you one and all, wherever you may be, in the city of Milwaukee, Milwaukee County, the state of Wisconsin, the United States of America, the North American continent, the planet Earth, the International Space Station, or worlds beyond. Welcome one and all. So Art, round 2 against the Blast, and Coach Oliviero and the fellas said they were anxious to get back out there and see if they can get a win over Baltimore after the Blast came in and did the business last week.
Anytime the Blast come to town, Tom, it's a great show. And last week was a great show. And hopefully tonight will live up to the expectations with this huge crowd on hand tonight in Milwaukee, man. This is a playoff atmosphere, and really for the Wave, they need to win this game to have any hopes of, if they get to the semifinal by defeating Cedar Rapids, having home field advantage if they were to meet Baltimore in that semifinal round. If they don't win tonight, Baltimore wins the season series. The Wave is virtually eliminated from that home field advantage against Baltimore if both teams make it to the semifinal.
Both teams have already clinched their respective divisions. Baltimore in the East at 15-3. The Blast is 6-3 on the road so far this year. And the Wave in the Central Division, 14-4. Milwaukee 8-1 on the home turf. So the Blast delivering the Wave's only setback on the home turf so far this year with that 6-5 win here on February 10th. Milwaukee will try to get another home winning streak started on the turf here tonight. And again, the way the MASL playoffs work this year, the top 2 teams in each of the 4 divisions will meet in the first round. That's, in essence, a best-of-3 series. You play one at home, one on the road, and then after game 2, if it's tied, you play a 15-minute minigame. That's what the Blast and the Wave did last year in the conference finals. However, in the conference finals this year, it's one game, winner take all, the home and the highest seed. So that's what Art Kramer was referring to, is that probably the winner of this season series is going to be the higher seed for the conference playoff.
And you don't want to have to go to Baltimore. Obviously, we all know they're playing in a new arena. It's a much smaller arena. If you haven't seen it on MASLsoccer.com, well, it's a small arena. And that team right there that you're seeing on your screen right now has done a great job adjusting to those new confines. But for the Wave, next week's going to be difficult going into the new surroundings, but they want to give themselves a chance. And the only way they give themselves a chance, that man right there, Giuliano Oliviero, and his Milwaukee Wave team, is to win here tonight.
Giuliano in his 4th year as head coach of the Wave after another previous 4 as an assistant coach under Wave legendary coach Keith Tozer. And before that, in addition to that, Jules with a 12-year playing career in Milwaukee, the head coach for the Baltimore Blast, a man who's becoming one of the legendary coaches in the history of North American indoor soccer, the man who has led Baltimore to 6-7 championships, Danny Kelly, since taking over in 2005-06. Danny himself, a former longtime player for the Blast, and in Harrisburg before that. We are underway with the Blast taking the kickoff in the white uniforms, going right to left as we look at the action. And as you said, Art, playoff-type atmosphere here tonight, especially with this crowd. Could be the largest of the year in the 7,000 range. Had a good crowd last Saturday for the matinee at 3,500, but probably twice as many here tonight.
This is by far the largest crowd of the season. And like I said last week, anytime the Milwaukee fans see the Baltimore Blast on the schedule, they're going to mark that one down, circle that, and make it out here through the year. It's just such a great rivalry between these two squads.
This will be the 89th regular season match between these two longtime rivals. Wave with an edge in the series, 51-37. 44th game played in Milwaukee, and the Wave with a commanding 32-11 edge over Baltimore. But again, that's just regular season. In the playoffs, the Blast against the Wave is even 500 over the years. And so they certainly are not lacking in confidence playing in this facility. Plenty of Wave legends to go around tonight, Arts. We saw Michael King on the field with one of his teams during the pregame ceremony, the pregame parade of youth soccer players, as Chino breaks away at midfield. Chino coming in, shot the goal! Angel Curiel! Take it coast to coast, and the Wave leads it 1-0.
Angel beat his man in the middle third of the field, created a 3-on-1, but didn't even bother to use his support as decoys as he beats Capinos to the far side. And then watch the celebration after the goal, Tom. Watch Angel run up on the boards. Got to be careful here, bud. Jumps up and then went down.
That's not exactly, they don't give you room for the Lambeau leap down there with that plexiglass up there. So Angel Curiel, Chino gets the Wave on the board here early as he takes it himself. And Milwaukee leading it 1-0, 50 seconds into the match for Curiel. His 6th of the year, also has 4 assists for 10 points. So there's a good start for Angel Curiel and the Wave.
I thought Curiel was going to do a Danny Waltman impersonation there and do a little flip off the boards after the goal. Another guy that tried that back in 2005 after the game-winning goal to win the championship, Todd Dosowski. Was that 05 or 2011?
That was 05.
05 in St. Louis. Todd didn't have much luck with that move either.
He's lucky he lived to talk about that. Oh, that was the goal against Cleveland in St. Louis, back in our Kramer's hometown. That was a celebration for the ages that night, as I recall, from what I can recall.
That night well into the next morning.
Oh, man. That was one for the ages. And again, some of the fans might be wondering, well, why were they playing in St. Louis? Well, that was the year that they had a neutral site for the final because of the ESPN telecast commitment. Blue card displayed, and I believe Josh Lemos might be charged with the penalty. he will not have to serve it, but someone else in the Wave will. And trying to see who the injured player is. Looks like Nelson Santana down there for Baltimore.
Hard to see from our vantage point, Tom. We're up here, and it's to the near boards from us. And we can't really see that corner, but if we get another chance to look at this on the Wisconsin Vision Instant Replay, we probably have a better look at this one. You see Josh Lemos, the standout goalie for the Wave, speaking with the referee.
So, 2 minutes charged to Lemos, but again, goalkeepers do not have to serve their own penalties. We'll see who goes to the box for the Wave. So, Blast with a power play restart out of the corner, zone to the left. Healy on the ball for Baltimore. He's the son of Baltimore general manager Kevin Healy. Over to Dos Santos, shot, turned away. Baltimore, as far as the power play this year, they've been pretty efficient, 54%, 19 of 35. Wave has been a pretty good penalty killing team, though. At 70%, they've killed off 26 of 37. Wave has one shorthand goal this year, courtesy of Ian Bennett. Blast has not allowed a shorthand goal. They have not allowed one in the last 2 seasons.
The guy that quarterbacks their power play, that man on the ball right there, number 9, Pat Healy. And the guy they got to watch for is on this near boards, number 11, Tony Donatelli.
Peruzzi with it right now. He's out there with Dos Santos, Healy, Donatelli, and Vinny Dantas. Dantas had a power play goal off a free kick from the top of the arc last Saturday.
And Donatelli had a power play goal last night in Cedar Rapids.
Ian Bennett, along with Jonathan Santos, Marcio Leite, and Stuart Grable, the penalty killers for the Wave.
Baltimore typically very patient on the power play. They'll work it around, try to get a quality shot.
45 seconds left to go. Man advantage for Baltimore as Peruzzi controls. Again, the penalty was against Lemos, but he's still out there. Goalkeepers do not have to serve their own penalties. Healy getting pressure from Santos as they work it around far side. Now Dantas. Turning shot was partially blocked by Grable. Dantas gets it back. They swing it around to Healy at the near point. Now Peruzzi tees one up. Good save there by Lemos. Comes to Donatelli. Donatelli trying to maneuver. Couldn't get the shot.
You see Donatelli try to cross over from right to left on Santos. The same move that he used to score the game winner last week with 7 seconds left. Jonathan wasn't letting him, wasn't buying it that time. Was waiting for that crossover.
And Lemos clears it downfield. Ferdinand, who was serving the penalty, back on the field. Speaking of Max Ferdinand, it is Max Ferdinand bobblehead night tonight. First 2,500 fans able to get the Ferdinand bobblehead. Dantas lays it back at the point. And now eventually to Dos Santos near side. So the Blast maintaining the possession after the Wave killed off the power play. He's still got the same group out there. Only Ferdinand, who was serving the penalty for Lemos, got to come out of the box. Bennett with it now. Now Ian going to push forward, not changing up. Far side, Leite with a shot. And Capinos able to turn it away on the short side. Back comes the Blast. Peruzzi with it.
That last Wave rush, Tom, Capinos was falling backwards a little bit when Marcio struck that shot, but he just did get his hands up and parried over the top.
Right, Blast with it back, Jonatas Mello. Up for Andrew Hoxie. Hoxie, the big guy, 6'4", veteran out of William and Mary. He had a goal last week for the Blast. Other action in the MASL, one final already today. Kansas City beat Harrisburg 8-7 in KC. Both those teams out of the playoff race. And right now going on in Lakeland, Florida, the Florida Tropics battling the San Diego Sockers. They are tied up at 1 in the first quarter. San Diego with a hard-fought 4-2 victory over the Tropics last night in Game 1 of that weekend series. Tropics still battling with the Syracuse Silver Knights for the second and final playoff spot in the East Division. But could be slipping away from the Tropics. They start tonight's action with a record of 9-8. Game and a half behind Syracuse at 11-7. Syracuse with a big win last night, 7-5 over the St. Louis Ambush in Syracuse. Foul was called. Jonatas Mello draws the foul. You see Jonatas doesn't like the call too much. But looked like a pretty good call there by the officials. Rich Grady, Mark Hedlacek working tonight's game. We also have Ryan Sigich, the chief of officials of the MASL, in the house tonight.
Sitting up here in press row, and if we have any controversial rules decisions that we need clarification on, Ryan will be happy to step in and join us.
Boy, Matos had it knocked away by Pereira and then able to get it back with a little push down on Pereira, but they play on. Here's Andre Hain, who, like Matos, returns the lineup for the first time since January 14th.
So Ryan Sigich will play the role of the NFL's Mike Pereira.
Wave in the black, going left to right on the black field, the only one of its kind in North American professional indoor soccer. One other game later on tonight in the MASL, you've got the El Paso Coyotes visiting Soles de Sonora.
And how about Soles de Sonora, Tom, with the first team to knock off Monterrey the other night in a 3-hour game that ended about 11:30 local time in Mexico.
Yeah, don't make any plans if you're going to a game in Hermosillo with that miniature field. The ball flies out of there. And unlike the Blast, who plays on a field that's even smaller, because of the way the Blast plays, you don't have quite as many balls flying out of bounds. Soles starts getting nervous if they don't crank a shot every 5 seconds up there, and the ball just does not stay in play very much.
Well, Solis went down 2-0 earlier in the game, and some of the fans on the chat board were saying, oh, this game's over. And I'm like, guys, it takes 10 goals to win in this building every time. And sure enough, that was the final, 10-8 for Solis in a game that in the first half was just brutal. Both teams were just destroying each other physically. The referees had their hands full. And in the second half, it settled down. Both teams played soccer, and quite an entertaining matchup.
And it was, with Sonora rallying for the last 3 to win that game. Monterrey losing their first of the year after a season opening 17-game winning streak, the second longest in league history. Remember, the Wave won 12 in a row to open up this season, which was, I believe, the second longest in league history. But Kansas City, the Comets of 2014-15, will hold the record still at 20-0, which was the entire regular season. Wave with the early lead on the goal by Chino, his 6th of the year, at 50 seconds into the match. Now Josh Lemos with it as he gets some pressure from Peruzzi. Near wing, Daniel Chamali for the Wave, lost it to Hoxie. And the Blast will start it back.
Good transition defense that time by the Wave, getting 5 back behind the ball.
Now Peruzzi got it on the right foot. Shot save, Lemos. And there's a State Farm Insurance save of the first half for Josh Lemos, who's had a couple of pretty good saves here to get it started. Always like to see the goalkeeper come up with some big saves early in the game. It always seems to build confidence throughout the match. Well, if it's your goalkeeper, if it's the opposing goalkeeper, then maybe you're not as excited.
Peruzzi with a quick move to his right foot, and Lemos went down low to save that with his hands. We know what a key Josh Lemos is to this Wave team success. Came onto the scene last year and had a standout rookie season, and now has right where he left off, but the addition of how much offensive productivity he's provided as well.
3 goals, 8 assists. Marcio coming down, and he fires one up in the stands, and that will bring it to our media timeouts. 1-0 Wave thus far. And while we have a chance, fans, we will tell you that the Wave would like to thank Miter USA for providing today's match balls. Miter, founded in Huddersfield, England, is among the world's oldest sporting goods brands, starting production in 1817. Miter is a proud sponsor of the Major Arena Soccer League, providing arena-specific match balls to both the MASL and MASL2. The MASL and Miter share a long-term vision to see arena soccer grow in North America. Miter's Astro Division ball is the official game ball for the MASL League play. Miter's Astro Division is designed specifically for play on artificial surfaces. It features a more accurate flight than the average ball and has a 30% reduced bounce to make it play more efficiently in arena soccer. Also a reminder that you're watching the Wave and Blast on MASL TV. Catch every game each week on the league's official streaming home, MASL.tv. And you can get the latest news on the MASL and your favorite teams. Make sure you're following MASL Soccer on Facebook and Instagram, and MASL Arena on Twitter. 1-0 Wave midway through the first period.
Very interesting, Tom. Just after the timeout, down on the Blast bench, Nelson Santana, who very fortunate wasn't called for too many men on that last change. He was coming off. His partner jumped on, and as he came off, Danny Kelly, the Blast coach, had a few words for Nelson. Nelson took exception to it, was barking back at Danny. David Bascombe stepped in and probably said, cool it, Nelson. And they continued on. But really not what you see on the Blast bench very often. They're about as cool and as collected as they come. And Danny Kelly, who his demeanor during most games is to stand there with his hands on his pocket, was a little bit upset with Nelson Santana, the fact that he was arguing back with Coach Kelly.
Santana in his second year with the Blast, but he's been around for about 12 years. So we'll see if that affects Santana's playing time the rest of the game. Shot by Mello, save, Lemos, rebound, follow, and Santos is there to deny Vinny Dantas. Santos, number 4 in the league in block shots. Baltimore's Pat Healy leads with 33. Check this out on the Wisconsin Vision Instant Replay. Well, good save by Lemos. We saw that. We didn't see the block by Santos, who was right there to deny Dantas. Ball went outside the corner flag, so we'll kick in from the spot as Mello puts it in off the wall, looking for Pereira, and Lemos covers up in a collision with Pereira down there, trying to jam it through. And it looks like Josh could have hurt his hand there. Let's check it out again.
We saw Baltimore last weekend score 2 goals on balls off the boards. And just after this flurry that you see, the Blast with the ball off the boards. And Lemos, that man right there with a good save at the near post.
Looked like Josh was shaking his left hand. Fortunately, he's a right-hand thrower, but I'm sure it can't feel good either way.
Well, you still got to catch the ball, which would
still got to use both hands to defend against, that's for sure. Oh, good centering pass there, and Lemos, great stop! Dantas with a 99% opportunity, and Lemos able to stuff him out.
Lemos with the leg save that time, as he has made 4 or 5 great stops here in the early going for the Wave.
Capinos looking downfield, and Johnny Orlando gets spilled that time by Vandegrift. So foul called on Chad Vandegrift, his first.
I tell you, if you're going to call a foul there, you have to pull the card. That's got to be a 2-minute penalty, because the Baltimore player is unobstructed to goal. Vandegrift caught him from behind. So the Wave a little bit fortunate there.
I said Orlando, that was actually 17, Jamie Thomas. The second-year man out of St. John's, New York. Shot just wide, Nascimento. I don't know if Lemos got a piece of that.
Lemos got the left hand on that one, Tom. Another outstanding save by the Wave keeper.
He's putting up all his State Farm Insurance saves of the game here in the first quarter. Having a sparkling quarter thus far.
So to use a term that Josh certainly will understand, en fuego. Josh Lemos here in the early going.
Josh, the league leader in wins with 14. He's put together another great season for Milwaukee. Thus far, 14-4 with a 5.62 goals against average. Capinos comes in at 4-1 at 4.92. Thomas gets dumped. The foul is called. Max Ferdinand getting called for the foul there. And I like Max's bobblehead with the full 90 painted on it, as he is the only one who's been wearing that headgear for many years. And with the success he's had, I don't know why more guys aren't.
As you see Jonathan Santos coming off here, must have some blood. And that's why Rich Grady, the referee on the near side, sent him off. Yeah, I was going to ask you because I hadn't seen the bobblehead, but was wondering if it had that full 90 headgear.
Absolutely.
As part of it. But
yeah.
One thing I like about, actually a couple things I like about Josh Lemos, Tom, are number one, his competitiveness. And really the big thing for me is his confidence. The guy we saw it, not a great outing in Mexico, comes back against Cedar Rapids and posts a shutout. And so Josh not lacking in the confidence department, and that is such a key if you want to be successful in the nets for any goalkeeper. Got to have a short memory, man.
Just like a relief pitcher in baseball. Even more so because you're out there the whole game. Nice move there by Max. Tries to push up. He's got Chino on his right. Blast get back defensively. Blast always gets back defensively, it seems. Even despite playing in the smallest arena in the MASL this year, still very stingy as far as giving up goals. They've only yielded 84. They've scored 121, so they're plus 37 on the goal difference. Wave, which is the third highest scoring team in the league, 146 for, 104 against, only yielding 104 themselves. So Milwaukee, a plus 42 on the goal difference.
What are Danny Kelly's keys to success when they come to Milwaukee? Keep good possession, get 5 behind the ball like you just said, and win the specialty teams battles. And right now the Blast 0 for 1 tonight on the power play.
Into the corner, Andre Hain. Andre playing with a big wrap on that right knee that knocked him out of the lineup about a month ago. Again, both he and Daniel Matos missing the last 6. So good to see them back out here tonight as Hain puts one up into the stands. I know Andre was anxious to get back out there, as was Daniel. You know, both those guys, as well as the whole team, was going so well when they got hurt. That was at the tail end of the Waves' season opening 12-game winning streak. So, of course, they are definitely anxious to get back there and try to get at least a few games under their belt before the postseason here.
We saw it last year when Andre Hain missed a lot of action, and then when he came back later in the season, what a difference he makes for this team. Not only does he score goals, but his defensive work rate up top as a forward is extremely important for the success of the Wave.
Approaching 1 minute left to play. First quarter, Wave up 1-0 on the goal by Angel Curiel, 50 seconds into the match. There's Ricardo Cabrera, or as we like to refer to him as Ricardinho #1. There are 3 Ricardinhos in the league. Still haven't really assigned a 2 or 3 to the others who play for Florida or Harrisburg, but he's Ricardinho #1.
He's playoff Ricardinho. How about that?
He appears to be the only Ricardinho going to the playoffs right now. That'll be easier to keep him sorted. Thomas trying to cut to the middle. Lays it off. Well, Santana's back out there. So, at least for now, Danny Kelly isn't going to penalize him playing-wise.
No, I wouldn't think Danny would. I don't believe he's that type of coach. If anything, he'll fine you. You know, I'm not going to hurt the team on the field, but I certainly may take a couple bucks out of your pocketbook. But once again, I don't know the gist of the conversation. I just saw that it was unusual.
Curiel still coming in. Angel with a shot, and Capinos covers up as the buzzer sounds. Boy, Chino did a great job to work himself in tight and almost able to nudge one past Capinos as the first period comes to an end. So good first period for the Wave. And as we go to the break, it's Milwaukee 1, Baltimore 0. This is Wave Soccer.
Arena has experience in some of the biggest events in the country, and we're able to bring that same expertise to local events. We do a lot of corporate anniversaries, company parties. Most of them never plan events like this, so they're looking for our experience to plan these events with them.
Well, every August, we have our customer appreciation party where we close down the restaurant. Customers are able to sample beer, wine, enjoy live music, desserts, the whole 9 yards.
Arena can provide a turnkey service from tents, tables and chairs, linens.
Everybody has a wonderful time, and it's something different out of the ordinary that we're able to do for our customers and for our vendors. They're able to just sit back and relax.
People want more than just a cover for weather. They were able to transform parking lots into amazing event venues.
Arena rental is very easy to work with. I would recommend them to anybody.
Experience Wisco Hotels, a broad selection of quality hotels throughout the state of Wisconsin for the value-minded traveler. Whether you're looking for a hotel in Milwaukee, Madison, Fond du Lac, Appleton, or Oshkosh, Wisco Hotels has you covered with great service, comfort, convenience, outstanding hotel rates, special hotel promotions, and so much more. To book your room or to get more information, visit wiscohotels.com. Wisco Hotel Group, proud partners of your Milwaukee Wave.
Go where the pros go for chiropractic care, massage therapy, and exercise rehabilitation. Goodyear Chiropractic Health Center, the official chiropractor and massage therapist for the Milwaukee Wave.
You see some of the crowd here in Milwaukee at the UW-Milwaukee Panther Arena as they get set for the start of the second period. Wave leading the Baltimore Blast 1-0. Tom went along with the Wave Hall of Famer Art Kramer here. Some of the fans were wondering, Art, why is Adriano Dos Santos still playing tonight when he exceeded his penalty point limit after the game last night in Cedar Rapids? And maybe we can bring in, try and bring in Ryan Sigich perhaps to comment about that. But
well, it's a pretty simple one. The MSL has a rule that if you're on a road trip and a guy accumulates the amount of points needed for a suspension, that the player still plays the next game because they don't have the ability to fly someone in the next day. So they allow that player to play. Now, had this been the 21st game out of 22, then he would have missed number 22.
So that's the reason why he's out there. A good point that some of our astute fans noticed as they were following the league. Wave taking the kickoff. They go right to left here in the second period. Meanwhile, an update from Florida. The Sockers now leading 3-1 over the Florida Tropics as they look to sweep the Tropics in that two-game set. And unless Florida comes back in this one, their playoff hopes could be dimming rapidly. Syracuse has been on a roll as of late. Another big win last night against St. Louis at home. I'll tell you, Il Paisano, Joey Tavernisi, having a tremendous year. He's now up in the top 5 among scoring and probably has to garner some MVP consideration.
You know what to do here, Ray.
Well, MVP consideration, I think there's maybe, what, 2 guys in the running for that? Frank Taillou and Ian Bennett.
2 serious MVP candidates.
But no question. I mean, as far as
but you talk
about flash, that guy has the least amount of flash out of everybody, but just goes out with his lunch pail and does a yeoman's job, blue-collar job, as a guy named Joey Tavernisi should, right? These guys, Tony Donatelli, Joey Tavernese, great East Coast players with East Coast names.
Yeah, if they ever start an MESL team in Milan, those would be 2 of the guys who should anchor it down there. Lemos up to Max Ferdinand. Max still the league's leading playmaker, 29 assists, 39 points, 6th in the league's scoring derby. His teammate Ian Bennett, number 2, with total of 54 points. Speaking of Ian, he gets the pass right there. Ian gonna turn, looks to shoot. Capinos right there to make the save. Ian Bennett, 45 goals, 10 assists, 55 points. But now 12 points behind Frank Tehu in that scoring race. 10 points, I should say. Frank has got 65. And Tehu, the league's leading goal scorer, 57 on the year. I will say about Frank, he did score a couple of sensational goals in that game against Solis, in the game against Monterey, to help Solis with the victory.
Yeah, he was pretty quiet throughout. He scored a little back post goal. And then, as he does so often, the game is late, everything's on the line, and he comes up with some spectacular goals.
Both had one left foot and then right foot. So he did it both ways.
The self-proclaimed king, Frank Tehu.
Remember, fans, Wave will go on the road next week. They'll play Baltimore Friday nights and then Syracuse on Sunday afternoon. That's a 3:05 Central Time start, 4:05 Eastern Time from the On Center in Syracuse. And then they'll come back here to wrap up the regular season against the Florida Tropics. That's Saturday night, March 3rd, 6:05 p.m. Central Time. Call the Wave office for tickets, 414-224-WAVE. You can also order online at MilwaukeeWave.com, your source for everything Wave. Tickets, merchandise, summer camps, whatever it is, MilwaukeeWave.com. And don't forget then, the Wave's first home playoff game, Sunday, March 11th at 1:05 against the Cedar Rapids Rampage. We still don't know exactly when Game 1 is going to be played. We get that information before this game is over, or as soon as we do, we'll pass it along to you. But the second and final, or the second game of what could be a 3-game series will be played here on Sunday, March 11th, 1:05. And again, call the Wave office for tickets, 414-224-WAVE. You can also order online at MilwaukeeWave.com. Baltimore with some pressure as Vandegrift and Lemos try to work it out of there. Pass upfield is broken up. They chip ahead. Turning shot, Dantas off the mark. Wave dodged the bullet there. Blast hasn't had a ton of high pressure here so far, but they sprung it on them that time and caught the Wave a bit by surprise.
Good chance that time for Dantas. Last night, Andrew Hoxie had a wide open net that Reiner House had just gifted him, and he wasn't able to capitalize. So a little bit of poor finishing this weekend for the Blast. And let's face it, you got to finish your chances to win games in this league. And that opportunity for Dantas was right there.
Then he's had a couple of chances tonight, but believe me, he has been a exceptional Wave killer in his time in this league, and so I wouldn't put him to bed just yet as far as his potential offensive impact in this game. If this game is close, he will find a way. And I guess that's a point for Baltimore. Art, they've had 12 one-goal games this year amidst their 18. They're 9-3 in that time. And again, between Donatelli, Dantas, Hoxie, any one of those guys seems to come up with the big clutch goal when they need it.
Prior to last night's game, Donatelli had 3 #1 stars in the previous 3 games. But going back to Vinny Dantas, I was down by the Blast locker room before the game, and you know, you look at him on TV and he looks like a pretty stocky, well-built guy. He's even bigger in person, man. That guy is just built.
He is a tank.
Yeah, tank, right.
Of major magnitude, and there's not much body fat on him either, I'll tell you that much. I've actually seen him up close and personal as well down there on the field.
Thought it was Ty Domi I was looking at. Like, Ty, when did you start playing soccer?
He's like a Ty Domi, maybe a couple inches taller.
Ty Domi, the legendary brawler, former NHL player.
His son Max now playing for the Phoenix Coyotes. Coyotes by Wade, all of a sudden a revived team. I see they won their 4th straight today, beating the Oilers 1-0. Well, the Oilers have been shut out so many times this year. You would think just having Connor McDavid alone would enable them to avoid getting shut out so much. But one man cannot do it all, either in hockey or indoor soccer. Peruzzi's pass ahead. Santos gets it. Knocked down, but they play on.
The Wave smartly backing it out. It's important. Talked about Baltimore. Danny Kelly's keys being possession. The Wave has got to maintain their fair share of possession once they win the ball. You don't want to be defending for long stretches of time.
Matos with it. Daniel in his 5th season in this league, 2nd with the Wave. Brazilian native who played his college soccer at West Florida. Actually started out at Penn State and then matriculated to West Florida. Foul is called there on Jeremy Raley. Raley, 2nd-year man out of the University of Maryland, and he had a goal last week.
I was about to say, big goal last week in that 6-5 Blast win.
Game is not exactly being played at a frenetic offensive pace right now. Both teams showing good possession.
Good possession and good defensive discipline. Unless you win it and get on the counterattack quickly and the numbers are there, possession becomes of the utmost importance in this one.
Lemos trying to serve it downfield for Hain, headed away. Now Vandegrift with a header for the Wave. Healy will step up and clear. Lemos will knock it back. Matos, good job to retain the possession there. Vandegrift took a check, but they play on. And Vandegrift, good job to recover there by Chad Vandegrift, the 5th-year veteran out of SMU and St. Louis University, St. Louis native. Shot on the right wing by Santos is off the mark. I'm not sure if that was a shot or a pass. Chino tracks it down, though.
That time the Wave did get numbers, and it was started by a great little ball by Lemos that split 3 Blast defenders and enabled the Wave to attack 3v2.
Blast, again, is giving Lemos some space at time. Boy, there's a dangerous square ball there that could have easily been knocked away. Boy, Mello right on top of the goalkeeper, but he confidently played it over. But anyway, similar to what we saw last week, Josh has given some space at times. And again, he's certainly a goalkeeper who will push up into the attacking zone. He's got 3 goals this year, not to mention 8 assists.
I was going to ask you, Tom, 3 goals and 8 assists. Is that the all-time record for a goalkeeper? It's got to be close.
It's got to be close. In this league, I believe it is. You know, Jamie Swanner, I thought, one of the years with the Invaders, put up similar numbers. Of course, Jamie had the ability to just throw it length of the field, especially at the old Civic Center. Shot and a goal! Mr. Bobblehead! Max Ferdinand, and the Wave leads it 2-0, and I'm sure that's one Jamie Capinos wants back.
Well, I believe Capinos was screened that time by number 9, Pat Healy. We can take another look on the Wisconsin Vision Instant Replay. But Max Ferdinand, that's his first goal, Tom, in what, 4 or 5 games. One more look. Look at Healy in front of Capinos, and yeah, I probably would like to have that one back. But I think he was screened by Healy on that shot.
Well, what do they say, Art? If you're up on the shooter, you better make the block because it's not going to help the goalkeeper. So Max gets one to go, and maybe that was some bobblehead karma right there for that shot to get through, his 11th of the year. And Max now with a total of 40 points on the season, number 6 in the league. Also has 29 assists to go with those 11 goals, 2-0 Milwaukee.
And once again, Tom, you could take a look down there at the Baltimore Blast bench.
You would like to celebrate your birthday here like these fine young stars.
And a normally very calm bench is a bit on edge here tonight. As Danny Kelly and Pat Healy.
Boy, Pat Healy, that's the last guy you might expect to
You don't see this very, I mean, I've seen how many Baltimore Blast games over the years. And one thing that's so noticeable is their demeanor is always so calm and stoic. And a little bit on edge here tonight.
A little bit emotional for the Blast tonight, but there's no question, Art. This has playoff-like atmosphere to it. By the way, Josh Lemos getting credit for the assist, so that's his 9th assist to go along with 3 goals, 12 points. Now, we'd have to give Jamie Swanner a call. I'm pretty sure, Art, he was in double figures at least one year with the Invaders. I'm sure as a teammate of yours, you can remember Jamie flinging a couple of balls into the empty nets as the animated discussion still continues down on the Blast bench. Of course, if you're Danny Kelly, do you listen a little more to Pat Healy because he's the general manager's son?
Well, no, not because he's the general manager's son. It's because Pat Healy has a wealth of knowledge and has been on this team for years and years. And
no, just kidding about that. I'm sure Pat was trying to make his point in a constructive manner.
And it happens. It happens. You know, I've been there as a player. You're going to have some words sometimes. And that's, I think coaches like that. They don't want just players that are yes players all the time.
Ricardinho knocked that away. Now here comes Andre Hain. Andre cranks one up wide right. Jonathan Greenfield, newly acquired by the Blast just prior to our last game on Saturday. Jonathan, by the way, had a goal last night in his return to Cedar Rapids where he was unceremoniously dismissed. Maybe by mutual option as the player coach earlier this year.
Delayed penalty coming up to the wave here. Capinos just recognized it. Now the Blast get their sixth man on the field, I should say.
So we'll see what the call's going to be as the Blast tries to work it for a potential opportunity here. Bouncing shot, and they almost do as Lemos corrals that one up the shot by Dantas. It's going to be a penalty against Rampa. So that was probably about 30 seconds from the time the penalty was called till the time the action finally stopped. Let's take a look.
Right there, Rampa grabs the jersey of Pereira. And you know, it's interesting, on that save by Lemos, he kind of corralled that shot and almost went back into his own net.
9:52, the time of the penalty, as Rampa goes for holding. Second penalty of the contest, both against the Wave. Baltimore is 0 for 1 on the power play. So the Blast see if they can go to work on this one. Again, Baltimore at 54% coming in. The Wave 70% penalty killing team. Santos, Bennett, Leite, and Grable, the penalty killers for Milwaukee. Healy, Donatelli, Dantas, Mello, and Dos Santos, the power play unit for the Blast. Mello plays it across, and the pass, good job there by Marcio to come up. Trying to push up, it's a 3-on-3, short-handed for the Wave. Well done there by Marcio. And Grable's pass gathered in by Healy. Wave was able to kill off some of the time there. Milwaukee does have one shorthand goal this year, courtesy of Ian Bennett. Blast has not yielded any. Baltimore being very patient on this power play. Mello touches it off. Dantas with it. Lays it back. Healy. Again, good job by Milwaukee as they rotate to the ball. Good job there by Bennett, keeping the pressure on. But Dantas with a bulky body and good control, able to fend him off. Nice job there by Santos to send it down. So now only 30 seconds left to go on the power play for Baltimore. Wave trying to kill off its second PP of this period. Mello drives one in wide left.
The Wave gains possession, Tom. They may want to think about getting a timeout here, allowing their man down unit to rest here.
Now 10 seconds on the power play as Healy has it straight away. Mello goes to the corner, send across. Lemos able to sweep that one away, but the Blast keep the zone. Now the penalty expires as Rampa comes running back on. Good job by Leite to knock it away. And Santos coming upfield. He'll lay it back, Ferdinand. Well, Wave able to change up with the possession. Even better, don't have to use a timeout. Here comes Max. He scored the most recent goal for the Wave. And he's going to be called for the foul there. Probably a 50-50 call and went in favor of the Blast. Good hustle that time by Mello as Max was coming off the bench that time.
Not many guys can stay with Max Ferdinand on the straight ahead run, but that time Jonathan Mello, I should say, showing good speed of his own.
Foul going to be called here, either Leite or Ferdinand. Remember, in the MASL, you get 3 personals in each half. On your 4th, your team gives up a 2-minute power play. So that's a second on Marcio in this half. Rayleigh getting some pressure, but he will circle away from Guilherme Vega. Capinos, who played last year with the Ontario Fury, he was their regular goalkeeper, and was not on the Baltimore roster to start this season, but was signed kind of in an emergency after the groin injury to William Van Zela. Put him out long term. Now Matos trying to come 2-1 with Vandergriff on his right. Daniel coming in, he crosses over. Couldn't get the shot, good hustle back that time as I think that was Pereira who got back into the action there defensively for Baltimore.
It was Pereira with the recovery run after he made a poor decision at midfield to dive in along the boards against Matos.
Pereira fends off Ferdinand. Chino was there. Chino still coming. Chino walking in off the end board. He was trying to set up Max, but Healy there to knock it away. Now Chamali with it from Milwaukee. Plays it back Matos. He'll look for Max. Looking for some cutters. Looking for something. Sets it up. Chamali shot knocked down in the middle. Ball free. Oh, Max puts it over the frame. Chino with a follow that's blocked in the middle. I think Santana got there to make the block on Chino. Foul called as Chino got pinned against the wall. Foul called against Baltimore.
They're going to call a drop ball here along the wall, but Wade was looking for a handball on that shot by Chino. Rich Grady immediately waved it off.
And now as it's played back into the goalkeeper Capinos, he takes a time. 1:06 left to go in the first half. Well, Max has 1 goal so far today. If we see the replay there, Art, he'd love to have this last one back.
Well, Chino had made a move along the near boards, and he had Max open in front, but elected to play off the boards. And then the play continued on, and Max just missed to the near post. And then he ended up setting up Chamali for a good look as well, but Chamali just couldn't get enough on the shot. It was blocked off the line by the Baltimore defender.
2-0 Wave with 1:06 left to go. I would say tonight's flow of the game a little more similar to what we're accustomed to seeing between Milwaukee and Baltimore. Both patient possession teams, not too much run and gun. Last week's game didn't really have a ton of goals, relatively speaking, a total of 11, but I thought the pace was much more frenetic throughout the course of that game.
Well, you got to remember, too, Baltimore played last night, and so sure, Danny Kelly and their team down there is really trying to slow the pace of this one up.
Yeah, last week, both teams were fully rested, and that probably did influence the way the game evolved somewhat. Again, in that game, Baltimore had a 5-3 lead late. Wave tied it up with a couple of Ian Bennett goals. The last one coming off a corner kick pass from Marcio Leite with less than a minute to go, and then Baltimore immediately scored on the kickoff on a goal by Donatelli with 8 seconds left to go. And that's how the Blast ended up winning it. That pushed their winning streak to 9, but then it ended last night in Cedar Rapids. Big win for Cedar Rapids to clinch a playoff spot. They'll be playing the Wave in the first round with game 2 and/or 3 on Sunday, March 11th, 1:05 p.m. right here at the U.S. the UWM Panther Arena. Call the Wave office for tickets, 414-224-WAVE, or you can order at MilwaukeeWave.com.
Can't say enough about the job that Cedar Rapids coach Ante Chope has done since taking over.
Oh, I'd have to agree with you. Took over for Jonathan Greenfield after the first 2 months of the season, and Lemos is hammered. Took a shot from somebody. You see Josh there writhing in pain with Dantas standing over him. I don't know if they didn't see the collision. Let's take a look one more time.
Well, you see Dantas with the right hand kind of hooked Josh as he was up in the air. Got knocked off balance. Landed hard on that hip.
Yeah, that could not have felt good at all. Hopefully Josh is going to be okay. He plays a magnificent first half here so far.
Well, he's played magnificent the whole season. A huge key to this Wave success.
They get a look at the second-year pro out of the province of Quebec.
Pleading his case to veteran referee Rich Grady on why that should have been a blue card. He's probably saying, hey, Rich, come on, I got one in the first quarter. And now try to make it even here, bud. And Dantas now pleading his case to the other referee.
Mark Kevlicek, another veteran official. I think this might have been the first time we've seen Mark here in Milwaukee in a couple of years. Caught him on the road a few times.
And so far, the Blast with 2 power play opportunities, the Wave none. So if there's one coming, you got to think it's coming the Wave's way here.
37.2 seconds left to go here in the first half. Blast ready to play it in on its defensive half.
See Joey Capinos playing the ball in long there. Tom, I asked Joey before the game, I said, hey, is Kelly Capinos, is that your wife or your mom? Because I see her watching the game a lot of times on the chat board. He says, that's my mom. I said, good, because I gave a shout out to Mama Capinos last game. Wanted to make sure I had it right. He told me I was right. Don't mess with Mama Capinos.
I wouldn't think so. And remember, Joey's twin brother Jamie, former MASL player, was a teammate of his in Rochester for a couple of years. That will do it for the first half. Well, so far so good for the Wave with a 2-0 lead, and there's our man of the match from the first half. Wave goalkeeper Josh Lemos. Goals provided by Chino and Max Ferdinand, celebrating his bobblehead night tonight.
We got a little deja vu, Tom. Remember last week, the Wave 2-goal lead going into halftime.
That's right, 3-1 Milwaukee last week, so.
Let's see what Giuliano Oliviero has to say to Van McNeil here.
We've got the on-field interview coming up with public address announcer Van McNeil and the Wave coach Giuliano Oliviero. So stand by here with us, fans, as we're going to get ready for that interview. And that will take us to our halftime break, but make sure to stick with us for the second half. I think we're going to have another one that goes down to the wire here between the Wave and the Blast, as Coach Oliviero exchanges greetings with the officials as they head out to the locker room at halftime. And I think they might just about be ready down there. Let's set it down. Van McNeil.
Coach Giuliano Oliviero, we've been in this situation before, Coach. Another 30 minutes of soccer. What do you can hear on the first half?
Yeah, very similar to last week. I think Baltimore played a very good half. You know, they're coming in from Cedar Rapids last night. Our goalie made some big saves. We kept them at 0, and we're very happy about that. I'm really happy with the energy we're playing with. I think we can play a little bit smarter in the second half.
And that's a goal into the second half, another 30 minutes to go. That's one of the things you'll be talking about. Anything else?
No, I mean, we came out last week in the third quarter, and it wasn't our best, you know, and we had a little 6-minute lull there. And you know what? We all learned our lesson, so we're going to make sure we're ready to roll in the third quarter. All
right, head coach Giuliano Oliviero, as he heads back into the locker room. Coach was just saying there, every second, every minute here on the field, it counts, it matters. We'll see what adjustments they make coming up in the second half. More Wave soccer coming up from UW Milwaukee Panther Arena. You're watching Spectrum Sports.
Experience Wisco Hotels, a broad selection of quality hotels throughout the state of Wisconsin for the value-minded traveler. Whether you're looking for a hotel in Milwaukee, Madison, Fond du Lac, Appleton, or Oshkosh, Wisco Hotels has you covered with great service, comfort, convenience, outstanding hotel rates, special hotel promotions, and so much more. To book your room or to get more information, visit wiscohotels.com. Wisco Hotel Group, proud partners of your Milwaukee Wave.
The Milwaukee Wave presents the State Farm Save of the Game. In the Wave's home opener against Cedar Rapids, goalkeeper Josh Lemos showed no signs of a sophomore slump as he came up big time after Rampage goalie Brett Petrusek came out of the box and attacked to no avail. Lemos had a save percentage of .462 on the night, along with 13 shots against and 7 goals against, and of course he's pumped up. The State Farm Save of the Game, brought to you by State Farm, here to help life go right. In New Berlin, contact Matt Teresi at 262-427-2227.
You could be my love, even if the sky is falling down. I know that we'll be safe and sound.
So many Americans struggle with finances. Starting today, State Farm is here to help, giving us all the chance to simply sit down and learn. Visit letstarttoday.com or talk to an agent.
We're safe and sound.
Go where the pros go for chiropractic care, massage therapy, and exercise rehabilitation. Goodyear Chiropractic Health Center, the official chiropractor and massage therapist for the Milwaukee Wave.
Rappa clears it off the line. Oh. Rappa clears it off the line.
Attacker, so put myself in the right spot, and I've been working on saving balls off the line, so it paid off. Oh, there he goes, the ice.
all your construction needs.
Arena has experience in some of the biggest events in the country, and we're able to bring that same expertise to local events. We do a lot of corporate anniversaries, company parties. Most of them never plan events like this, so they're looking for our experience to plan these events with them.
Well, every August, we have our Customer Appreciation Party where we close down the restaurant. Customers are able to sample beer, wine, enjoy live music, desserts, the whole 9 yards.
Arena can provide a turnkey service from tents, tables and chairs, linens.
Everybody has a wonderful time, and it's something different out of the ordinary that we're able to do for our customers and for our vendors. They're able to just sit back and relax.
People want more than just a cover for weather. They were able to transform parking lots into amazing event venues.
Arena Rental is very easy to work with. I would recommend them to anybody.
For just a moment, think about your life without electricity. No lights, no refrigerator, no computers. It's hard to imagine, isn't it? American Transmission Company helps to keep the lights on. ATC's electric transmission lines deliver electricity from where it's generated to where it's needed. We help provide people in Wisconsin with economical, reliable power for their everyday life. American Transmission Company, helping to keep the lights on, businesses running, and communities strong.
reading my mind. Okay, we'll bring it back in 3, 2, 1. Some of the crowd here in Milwaukee as we are just concluding our halftime festivities, getting ready to start the third quarter with the Milwaukee Wave leading the Baltimore Blast 2-0. Tom went along with the Wave Hall of Famer and legend Art Kramer. Art, another very solid first half for the Wave, but similar to last Saturday here against the Blast, a 2-goal lead at halftime. Baltimore rallied back to win the game 6-5 last week. Can Milwaukee make this 2-goal lead stand up?
You heard Coach Giuliano Oliviero allude to that at halftime, that they were in the same position last week and they didn't come out with their best effort in the second half. But remember, Tom, early in that second half last week, Leite rounded Capinos along the near boards. He had Ricardinho alone at the far post. It would have put up the Wave up 4-1. Baltimore right back the other way, made it 3-2, and that was a huge swing in that game. So all about momentum, as you know. And right now the Wave carrying that momentum in a 2-goal lead here into the second half.
Other action going on right now down in Lakeland, Florida. The San Diego Sockers have extended their halftime lead. They were up 3-1 at halftime. It's now 4-1 as they scored an early goal off a corner kick.
San Diego on the power play right now as we speak, so watch out for Craig Childs, who's one of the league leaders in power play goals. I believe he has 9 or so this season.
Ian Bennett with 11, and meanwhile, Florida comes back. They had a great opportunity, somebody in front.
They had a sitter.
Couldn't quite connect there.
On the short-handed opportunity, just a sitter that would have brought him back to 4-2 and missed over the top.
Talking about power play goal leaders, Ian Bennett of the Wave leads with 11 this year. Craig Childs with 10 coming into tonight's game. He's number 2. Then Teo of Sonora and Ivan Campos, one half of the Twin Tank combination out in Turlock with 7. Twin Tanks again thwarted last night as they dropped their 7 straight. Tacoma beating them 5-3. That was not an easy victory for the Stars, but a game Tacoma absolutely had to have if they're going to stay in the playoff race. They have a huge game with a capital H coming up against the Ontario Fury this upcoming week. And that winner of that game may very well go on. Here's Grable coming in. Stewart cracks a left footer just above the frame. Ian Bennett checks his man off the play. Ian coming in. Ian with a shot. He puts it off the frame. And the blast clear.
You normally see Ian go with power in that spot, and that time stutter stepped and really pulled Capino out of position, but chipped it a little bit too high.
So the Wave right off the bat with a couple of good chances to extend the lead. Thomas shrugs off Marcio Leite of the Wave, sends it across. Mello is there to get it, and we'll play it back out.
Talking about that Ontario-Tacoma matchup coming up, Tom. Remember, Tacoma leads the series 2-1, so should they win that next game, they'll hold the tiebreaker over Ontario.
Ontario with a very impressive win over the Stars this past week. So as we take a look at our Wisconsin Vision instant replay on the foul there, Hoxie getting called for pushing Santos. So you would think the Fury would definitely have some confidence rolling against the Stars, but Tacoma is definitely going to be a tough team to deal with in Tacoma.
And if you're the San Diego Sockers, who would you rather play in the first round, Tacoma, or would you rather play the Ontario Fury, who they know quite well from over the years? But remember, former Sockers player Nick Pereira now in the lineup for Tacoma.
Well, it'll be a tough matchup either way. The Sockers are 4-0 against Tacoma this year, and I think they've outscored them something like 30-9 in those games. So it's not a good matchup for Tacoma. Ontario has beaten San Diego, and so I would think San Diego would, if you just asked them, they'd rather play Tacoma, but either way, they're going to be favored. And it's going to take quite an effort by the number 2 seed, whoever that turns out to beat the Sockers. Sockers are a complete team, much like all the other division winners, Milwaukee, Baltimore, Monterey. Not too many weak areas on that team, and any one of those division winners could certainly win the championship. And as you mentioned, Art, any of the number 2 seeds could certainly knock off the division winners because of the way this playoff format is.
Cedar Rapids peaking seemingly at the right time. Gordy Gerson, another great performance last night. Talked about
Kid Dynamite.
This team has really started to play under Ante Chope. Then you got Solis, who at home went out and beat Monterey.
Yeah, the Fury will not be taking anything for granted in that upcoming series between those two rivals. And again, Sonora has not clinched second place yet. They could do so with a victory over El Paso tonight. Sonora's, the Soles at 12-7, El Paso 9-9. You know, had Soles dropped that game, tonight's game against El Paso really could have loomed large for the Coyotes to possibly overtake Soles in second place. They could still do it, but it's probably very, very unlikely.
Solis knows how to play in their building. It's their home record, what, 8-1, I believe, 7-1. And then you look at the Baltimore-Syracuse matchup, and the last time Syracuse played Baltimore in Baltimore, they probably should have won that game. Baltimore won in overtime. So got 4 pretty good first-round matchups in the MASL.
Some great matchups as the Ron Newman Cup playoffs will get underway in March. Regular season ends March 4th, and then it's on the playoffs after that. Wave taking on Cedar Rapids, and Baltimore most likely taking on Syracuse. Right now, the Wave leading 2-0 here early in the third period. Wave showing some good extended possession here, and again, Blast not panicking at all. Here's Ian Bennett. Ian. Shot in, blocked by the rolling Jonathan Greenfield. Jonathan Greenfield, who, well, his only appearance last week was serving a penalty for somebody, for Joey Capinos, I recall. But he's back on the field this week, Art.
The Blast adding veteran Jonathan Greenfield, veteran defender. And what Jonathan will bring is the ability to possess the ball.
Solid player, Jonathan. Now in his 13th indoor season, Marcio tees one up and he drives it just high. Wave coming close here in the third period, but have not been able to stick one in the back of the neck. Dantas putting down Matos with impunity that time. All right, Max Ferdinand taking it in against Donatelli, stepping over several times, sends it to the middle. Vega looking to redirect, but couldn't do it. Back comes the Blast. Good double team that time to initially take it away from Peruzzi, but he keeps going, and now Milwaukee again will get the possession. Ian coming upfield. Bit of a collision they play on as he had bumped into Dos Santos. Dos Santos, by the way, will be sitting out Friday's rematch between these teams in Baltimore because of penalty point accumulation. So you heard us talking about the first half. He did not have to do it tonight because they were in the middle of a road trip. Matos takes it away. Daniel returning to the lineup for the first time since January 14th. Both he and Andre Hain coming back. Hain from a knee injury and Matos from an ankle injury. Nice job there by Vega to stop that crossing pass from finding an easy tap-in at the far post for the Blast. Nascimento with it now. Into the zone, Hoxie. Wave so far doing a good job to defend against Hoxie. He's another guy who has scored some big goals against the Wave in the past. Take your choice, pick your poison of the 3 guys up front between Hoxie, Dantas, and Donatelli. They are all lethal when it comes, especially when it comes down the stretch of a close game. And that's one of the reasons why the Blast has been so good in 1-goal games this year. They played 12 of them and won 9. There's nobody else in the league, I don't believe, who's even played half as many 1-goal games. Hoxie, good work there to retain the possession as they cycle it back out.
So if you're saying I was playing in a fantasy league and I had 2 of those 3 guys to pick to start, I think I'd pick Dantas and Donatelli and leave Hoxie out. But as you said, Hoxie has come up with some big goals when it counts throughout the years. The man with the best mustache in the game by far.
Absolutely. One of the best ever. You know, Keith Tozer as a player had one of the great mustaches in indoor soccer history, but Donatelli, or rather Hoxie, you got to rank him right up there. Who else can you think of, Art, that among the great mustachios of indoor soccer?
Back in the early days, there was a lot of guys that were sporting them, but thinking recently, Keith and Hoxie, although they're much different style mustaches. Keith with more the handlebar style, right?
Right.
And I won't say what Hoxie's style is. We've already been through that.
It's for adult consumption only. But
that's your take on it.
But I'm not taking away of the quality of it, though. It is magnificent in its own right. It's just a different style, that's all. Well, now the Wave has the possession, and they're working it. It seems like in this half, Art, we've had basically 3 possessions for each team. Almost like a football game, like an American football game, as far as time of possession goes.
Well, we might have to bring Ryan Sigich in and ask him if there's been any discussion about a shot clock in this league.
Yeah, this might be a case for it right here. Lemos looking for Chino. He's got one of the 2 goals so far today from Milwaukee.
But remember what Giuliano Oliviero said at the break. He said that we're going to need to play much smarter, or we could have played much smarter. So if you're trying to figure out what he said to the team at halftime, you got to think, hey, we need to keep possession here and make Baltimore chase to break us down.
Curiel tried to send one around the boards. Capino scooped it up.
Because I always get a kick out of those halftime conversations. The question's always, well, what adjustments are you going to make? And the coach is sitting there going, I'm not going to tell you what adjustments I'm going to make in front of everybody. The other team is right down there listening outside their locker room. And so you get general comments like, well, we got to play smarter, but they're not going to give any specifics on what they're going to do. So I'd have to say possession would have been one of the specific points that Giuliano made.
Dantas got tangled up with a couple of defenders. Wave coming out with it. Bennett chasing, but Capinos gets there. Serves to midfield. Curiel will get there for Milwaukee and cycle it back to Josh Lemos. This has got to be the fastest moving first 9 minutes of a period maybe in history here. Virtually no whistles and no balls going out of play. Ferdinand fell down. He wouldn't get the call. Max has got the other goal beside Curiel for the Wave tonight. Hoxie to the corner. Double teamed. Knocked away. I believe we're going to get a foul on Hoxie, and Vega fired up for the Wave.
You see Vega push the glass. As you said, fired up for the Wave. Be careful there. Seen that glass come off its hinges before.
Lemos under pressure, taken away, set up far side. Josh covered up initially, and a nice play by Matos to come across and sweep it away. Just when it looked like the Blast was going to score.
Lemos, after the giveaway, slowed that play down just enough by tipping the ball away, and then Viega, I believe it was, came across.
5 minutes to go. Still 2-0, which was our score at halftime. It was 1-0 Wave at the end of 1, 2-0 at halftime.
Was Chamali, Tom, that came across, is that correct? Daniel Chamali came across to clear that one away and keep the Blast off the board.
So some good team defense by the Wave thus far. Lemos already with 1 shutout so far this year. He shut out the Syracuse Silver Knights 6-0 back on January 20th. I don't think anybody's thinking shutout just yet. Dos Santos lays it off across. They work it to the corner. Hoxie's attempt, saved by Lemos.
And that might have been Lemos' best save of the day there at the near post.
State Farm
on
Insurance.
Hoxie.
Save of the game, 2-on-1 on the way. Max coming in, cuts it back, and a good defensive play as I think it was Rayleigh who got there to poke it away for Baltimore. Oh, great chance on the counter by Milwaukee. Blast thought there was a foul behind the play. Santos coming over to challenge Dos Santos. Comes free, top of the area. Shot by Mello, turned away by Lemos. Boy, Josh is in the zone tonight.
Another great save by Lemos as he kicked out the right leg that time.
Josh is feeling it, no question about it. But still, only a precarious 2-0 lead for Milwaukee.
I think on the pregame I said it was Cedar Rapids that Josh had shut out, but you're right, it was Syracuse.
Well, he played well against Cedar Rapids that last game. Wave ended up losing 5-3 on a couple of late goals by Kid Dynamite, Gordy Gerson. But other than that, Josh had an excellent comeback game after his shell-shocking weekend in Mexico, where the Wave surrendered 29 goals.
In fairness to Josh, though, it was not all Josh.
No, it was a complete team effort of goals being yielded there.
If you look at the goals Monterey scored against the Wave in that game, how many shots in the upper corner? They were just like the...
They were like the Mexican Postal Agency, Art.
Like the Denver Nuggets shooting threes the other night against the Bucks.
Man, how about that? Bucks got 8 days to mull that over.
24 three-pointers by the Nuggets, and had not been for a number of misses late in the game, they would have set an NBA record.
Peruzzi trying to cut back on the ball. Good hustle back. Curiel got a foot in there for Milwaukee. Again, Wave team defense tonight has been superb. Blast still probing to see if they can create some more chances. Nice job there by Santos to knock it down. Here comes Bennett. High plush, trying to drive upfield, has it deflected away. It goes into the Baltimore bench. And we have finally our media timeout after some continuous action. And Van McNeil and the Wave fans fired up here at Panther Arena. So, again, to brief you on what's ahead for the Wave, they will play the Blast. It'll be a rematch with Baltimore. Third straight game against the Blast for the Wave. The 3rd and 4 for the Blast against the Wave. And that will take place this upcoming Friday, February 23rd at the Seco Arena in Towson, Maryland, home of the Blast. That will be a 7:35 Eastern time, 6:35 kickoff. So for you fans who don't make it out to Seco Arena, you can check it out on MASL TV. By the way, our old buddy Bobby Fellows and Mary Fellows said they're making the trip out there, so we'll have a couple of Wave fans at least out there for the game. And then Sunday, the 25th, Wave will journey to the On Center in Syracuse, New York to take on the Silver Knights. 3:05 Central Time, kickoff 4:05 Eastern Time. Wave will then return home to play the regular season finale against the Florida Tropics. Tropics, by the way, now down 4-2 in the fourth quarter tonight, hosting San Diego. That will be a 6:05 contest here on Saturday night, March 3rd. Wave and the Tropics. First time Florida will ever come to the Milwaukee Panther Arena. And it could be a big game for Florida. Could be a big game for the Wave. Florida still might be alive for a playoff spot. And Wave, of course, could be in position to possibly win that to get the top seed in the Eastern Conference. And then the home playoff game Sunday, March 11th, 1:05 against the Cedar Rapids Rampage. Game 1, date and time still to be determined as Cedar Rapids home game. Call the Wave office for tickets, 414-224-WAVE. You can also order online at MilwaukeeWave.com.
A lot of discussion during the timeout with the referees. Both teams lobbying to get the next call. Donatelli was out there in Rich Grady's ear, and Wave captain Tenzin Rampa wasn't having none of it. He's like, hey, listen, we haven't gotten anything tonight. 2 power plays to none. But both teams in the ear of both referees during that timeout.
Santos.
Oh, and they're going to call a foul on Santos, I believe. Wow.
Foul for diving, perhaps.
Yes, that's the call. The first time is a warning. The second time is a 5-minute yellow card.
Looked like, well, we'll see if we get a chance on the Wisconsin Vision Instant Replay to see. It looked like, was that Pereira? Had the elbow up a little bit, but Jonathan flopping down.
Let's take a look here, Tom. Here's Santos come in. Well, that's a tough one right there. The ball's away.
a bit of embellishment, but
Yeah.
perhaps could have been a foul called against the Blast. But I will give the officials credit so far. Rich Grady, along with Mark Elichek, did a good job to keep things under control. A very intense battle going on here tonight. See them. So apparently now they're going to change the call to a Blast foul. So they did change the call after consultation with the officials in the box.
Well, if both teams were hot at the break there, changing the call's not going to help things now.
No, probably not. All right, so Wave will take it. Free kick Santos out near the center circle. Well, he's in the center circle out near the midfield stretch. Big crowd on hand here tonight. More than 6,000 on hand, and they have seen an intriguing game here between the Wave and the Blast. Bennett trying to get around Rayleigh near boards, couldn't do it. Capinos will clear. Again, Joey Capinos coming in as the goalkeeper with the injury to their all-star keeper, William Vanzela, and Wave is going to get the call here as Vega draws the penalty one more time. Let's see what happened here.
Vega in behind the Baltimore defense. Dos Santos takes him down. Now the question is Dos Santos the last man? And if he is, it should be a shootout. Whether you agree with that was a foul or not, it appeared to me that he was the last man.
So let's see what we're going to get here. It looks like they're coming out like it'll be a regular power play. First penalty against the Blast tonight, third overall in the contest. And it will come against Adriano Dos Santos at 13:23 in the third period.
Might as well pile up a few more points while you're at it if you're Dos Santos, huh? You know, that touch by, was it Vega? The referees might have ruled that he wasn't going towards the goal. It was a touch going sideways. It wasn't a direct line to the goal, but certainly looked like he was taken down by the last man.
All right, Wave on the power play. First time tonight, Milwaukee converting at 45%. They're 19-42. Blast, a very good penalty-killing team at 76%. They killed off 16-21. And it comes. Matos, he scores, but we are going to have a foul called against the Wave. I think somebody set a screen inside off the ball.
That's what they called. Let's see if we can take another look at that goal that was waved off. I'd like to see that again.
Blast shorthanded now, puts it back in play. Yeah, it would be interesting to get a replay on that and see. Maybe next break we might be able to possibly get a look here. Our fine production crew at Milwaukee Panther Arena.
Also like to get Ryan Sigich here at the break time after the third quarter, and you can ask him on that call that they overturned, if they went over to the third and fourth official, do they have the ability to ask those guys on foul calls?
Right. Yeah, I thought perhaps only on a penalty call, but I didn't know you could do that on fouls. But perhaps
that's why Ryan's here. We can use him.
Technical issue that Ryan, I'm sure, can address accurately. Final minute of third period. Wave with the man advantage, looking to cash in. This would be unbelievably huge if they can get a goal here. And on the other side, if Baltimore stops them, huge momentum for the Blast going into the fourth quarter. Penalty will actually carry over for the first 22 seconds of the fourth quarter if Wave does not score here by the end of the third. Ian Bennett trying to get into that right foot so he can wheel in, but thus far, Blast is not letting him get to that spot. Drive in by Ricardinho. Saved by the Blast. Donatelli clears. Final 10 seconds of the period. Ferdinand. Max on his bobblehead night. He's already got one goal. Lays it off to the near corner. Vega couldn't get the shot, and the Wave does not get a shot before the end of the period. So we go to the fourth. Wave still clinging to the 2-0 lead. Don't go anywhere, fans. We should have another great finish here. This is MASL Soccer.
Arena has experience in some of the biggest events in the country, and we're able to bring that same expertise to local events. We do a lot of corporate anniversaries, company parties. Most of them never plan events like this, so they're looking for our experience to plan these events with them.
Well, every August, we have our customer appreciation party where we close down the restaurant. Customers are able to sample beer, wine, enjoy live music, desserts, the whole 9 yards.
Arena can provide a turnkey service from tents, tables and chairs, linens.
Everybody has a wonderful time, and it's something different out of the ordinary that we're able to do for our customers and for our vendors. They're able to just sit back and relax.
People want more than just a cover for weather. They were able to transform parking lots into amazing event venues.
Arena Rental is very easy to work with. I would recommend them to anybody.
Experience Wisco Hotels, a broad selection of quality hotels throughout the state of Wisconsin for the value-minded traveler. Whether you're looking for a hotel in Milwaukee, Madison, Fond du Lac, Appleton, or Oshkosh, Wisco Hotels has you covered with great service, comfort, convenience, outstanding hotel rates, special hotel promotions, and so much more. To book your room or to get more information, visit wiscohotels.com. Wisco Hotel Group, proud partners of your Milwaukee Wave.
Go where the pros go for chiropractic care, massage therapy, and exercise rehabilitation. Goodyear Chiropractic Health Center, the official chiropractor and massage therapist for the Milwaukee Wave.
And they are getting ready for the fourth quarter here in Milwaukee as the Wave leads the Baltimore Blast 2-0 here at Panther Arena. Big crowd on hand, and it's been an intense battle between the Eastern Conference's top two teams. Baltimore, the Eastern Division winner and leader. Milwaukee, the Central Division winner and leader. And let's bring in our guest for the start of the fourth period. He's the referee-in-chief of the Major Arena Soccer League, Ryan Sigich. Ryan, first of all, great to have you here. We couldn't resist bringing you in for a quick inquiry on the play at the end of the third period where the officials initially called the foul on Jonathan Santos, and then after kind of a brief review with the officials in the box, changed the call to a foul on Juan Pereira of the Blast.
Yeah, Tom, what they had there was the initial call on the field was a embellishment warning on Santos, but after the crew got together in conjunction to help with the assistant referee there in the box, actually determined that there was contact, there was a foul, but there was still embellishment, so they actually went with the foul, but also gave an embellishment a faking warning there to Santos.
Okay.
And the referees tonight are also using the radio devices, so they're able to communicate with each other during live play, which is really helpful.
Yeah, I was going to say that's got to be a great innovation.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, Ryan Sigich, the head officials for the Major Arena Soccer League, stepping in with us and giving us an excellent summation of what happened on that situation there. So that was a very timely entrance into the box by Ryan, but now we'll bring back the Wave Hall of Famer Art Kramer as we come down the stretch here in Milwaukee. Wave going right to left here in the fourth period. The last goal scored in this contest was Max Ferdinand getting his 11th of the year from the goalkeeper Josh Lemos, who got his 9th assist at 8:54 in the second period. The only other goal scored was Angel Curiel getting his 6th of the year unassisted 50 seconds into the match. And that's been it. Both keepers have played great here, Art, tonight, especially Josh Lemos. Again, this is certainly not been a frantic pace. Capinos with a save there. There's his State Farm Insurance save of the half there to take one away from Chino, who had one going to the upper far corner. But no question, pace has not lent itself to tons of offensive shots and opportunities, but the keepers have been outstanding tonight.
Yeah, and if you're Giuliano Oliviero, you got to be telling your team, put the volume of shots on Joey Capinos.
In it comes. Matos cranks up the shot. That one just wide.
Remember, Capinos just joined the Blast here in the last 5 games. You saw the second goal that he probably should have made the save on, and you got to start to wonder, as this game goes on, how much Capinos has left in the tank right now. Played a hard game last night. He hasn't had a lot of action this year, and certainly the physical side has got to be a question right now. And if you're the Wave, a high volume would be the order of the day right now.
By the way, the Tropics have scored down in Florida. It's now San Diego 4, Florida 3, about midway through the 4th period down there. Andre Hayne with it for Milwaukee. Andre coming back from a right knee strain that kept him out of the lineup the last 6 games. You can see that big bulky wrap on Andre's right leg. Andre was off to a good start this year, including one of the goals of the year down in St. Louis. 10 games, 6 goals, 4 assists for 10 points. Daniel Matos in 8 games had racked up 6 goals, 4 assists for 10 points. Vega trying to nudge one in the middle of the box. It's cleared away. Wave gets it back as Chamali with it.
To see Daniel Chamali this year without the hair,
looks a little
mixed
different
up at times with Vega.
Santos for Vega, and they'll cycle it back out. Again, Wave can be patient if they want to be with this 2-0 lead. I'll tell you, their ability to possess the ball tonight has been superb. Baltimore's also had some pretty long stretches of possession, but I think the Wave has really been accumulating the possession time on the clock here.
Certainly in the second half, they've dominated the time of possession.
Lemos looks the corner. Ferdinand trying to get it. Cleared out by the Blast. Nice effort there by Grable to knock it down. Stewart, the 3rd-year pro out of Neenah, Wisconsin, and UW Green Bay. He's dumped on the play. Foul is called.
And with a win tonight, the Wave would tie the Blast at 15-4, which would set up just a key matchup next weekend in Baltimore.
You saw the foul on Hoxie. That is his 3rd. So he's got to be careful, because if he gets one more, Wave would go on the power play. Speaking of the Blast, after hosting the Wave on Friday, they will host Florida on the very next night, Saturday, February 24th. At 6:05 p.m. Eastern time, and then wrap up the season in Syracuse. So they've got a tough schedule down the stretch, as does the Wave, which has to go to Syracuse following the game in Baltimore, and then home to host the Florida Tropics, who could still very well be alive in the playoff race. Blast trying to come down on the near wing. Nascimento with it. Back out to the point, Rayleigh. Rayleigh, 2nd-year man, former Maryland Terrapin. Now Dos Santos. Dos Santos having a very good year for the Blast offensively. He's actually 4th on the team in scoring, 7 goals, 13 assists for 20 points. Blast has nobody outside of Donatelli in the top 10 scoring-wise. He is 7th with 38 points coming in, but you've got Dantas with 31, Mello with 21, Dos Santos with 20, Hoxie with 18. Lucas Roque, who got injured at midseason, out for the year with a knee injury. He had 15 already, so he would have been probably at least close to a 30-point scorer. They're going to say that one's off the head of Donatelli. Wave will get it. So pretty good balance on the Blast offensively, but again, defense has really been their calling card.
And after that 3rd foul on Hoxie, saw Danny Kelly have a word with the big target forward, and I'd be surprised if he keeps him off for the rest of the game here. I think you got to take a chance and let him play at this point, but Hoxie's seated down on the Baltimore bench right now.
may have to go with a defensive runner for him, Art, until it gets late in the contest. Yeah, the old defensive runner.
I've played it before in an all-star game, believe it or not.
Oh, man.
Defensive runner for Pato Marhetic.
Oh. Well, Pato's always thought of you fondly since.
Pato went to the coach and said, Johan, you can't do this in an all-star game. And I only defensive ran for one shift, and that was it.
Well, they're going to say that that was a delay a game clearance, top of the arc restart. Boy, these have been few and far between for both teams tonight.
Will the Wave take a timeout here and talk about this? Remember last week they had a good opportunity, and they do. Last week they chose not to. This week they choose to take the timeout, set something up.
Not many of these to go around here tonight, for sure.
Well, not many tonight, but I can guarantee you next Friday night, Tom, there's going to be a ton of top of the arcs and even more yellow line restarts as those 3-line violations come fast and furious in Baltimore.
For those of you who have not either been to a game at Seco Arena in Townsend, Maryland, or seen one on video, just take any quarter section out of this field. In fact, take either half of the neutral zone, if you will, from the field right here, and that gives you about the approximate size of Seco Arena. So, as Art was saying, it's almost impossible to go through a game without a few 3-line violations, and of course, again, the ball flies out of play all the time. Maybe not quite like it does down in Sonora. The ball literally flies out of play all the time down there, but there'll be quite a few going out of play. Quite a few restarts coming in the game coming up Friday between the Wave and the Blast.
Neither team has capitalized offensively on the special team situations tonight. The Blast 0 for 2 on the power play, the Wave 0 for 1. Neither team with a restart goal. Good opportunity here for the Wave.
Ferdinand on the ball. He's got Marcio to his left, Vega to his right, Bennett and Matos. The others on the field for Milwaukee. Dos Santos, part of the 3-man wall for the Blast, with Thomas and Mello, Rayleigh and Haley behind them. Here we go. Max steps over. Marcio will lay it across. Shot to goal! Hey, welcome back, Daniel Matos. And just what we talked about, Art, in the pregame, Matos on the restarts and power plays huge, and he comes up big right there. And how about a nice gesture there, holding up the jersey of his injured teammate, Robert Renaud.
Credit to Wave coach Giuliano Oliviero for drawing up a great play, and then credit to the Wave restart team in their execution. And welcome back, Daniel Matos. The Wave desperately needing that compliment to Drew Ruggles from that side with the left foot. And Matos with a shot that bangs off Healy and into the back of the net. And unfortunately for Baltimore, that's the second restart goal they've seen go off their defender this weekend. Last night it was a big goal to Cedar Rapids on the restart off the Baltimore defender, and tonight a second one.
Marcio will get his 16th assist and 31st point as Daniel Matos gets his 7th goal and 11th point.
Just a well-designed restart that time by the Wave.
Well designed, and like you said, great execution, and a huge goal for Milwaukee. A little more breathing room at 3-0, but again, this game far from over.
Two players stacked to the right of Marcio, and the back defender had to make a decision. Do you bite on the first player, which he did, which allowed Matos to be free as the second man, and he didn't miss.
Yeah, and you made a good point also with how timely Matos returned to the lineup, because Drew Ruggles really the only other natural left footer beside Guillermo Vega, and Drew was in that spot otherwise with Matos being injured, and Drew got hurt in last week's game in that collision with Max Ferdinand. So very timely return for Matos. Hopefully Drew is going to be back in the lineup here sometime soon. Veteran defensive player for Milwaukee. Shot up in the stands. 7:55 to go. And the Wave.
Sorry, Tom. Going to say once again, time for a heavy dose of possession now if you're the Milwaukee Wave.
Rayleigh fights off Ricardinho for it. Dantas chests it back to Healy, but it's a bit behind him. Donatelli circles on the dribble. Again, the Blast, playing last night, Cedar Rapids had a tough game there. Dantas turning shot, save made by Lemos. Josh with another State Farm Insurance save of the half. Now Curiel pressing upfield. He's got Vandergriff on his left if he can get it there. Whoa, he's pounded down, and 2 minutes coming up for the Blast. Chino sacrificing his body. He knew he was going to take a shot there. And the Blast going to go to the penalty box once again. Check it out.
Chino's been outstanding tonight. See him that time along the board. Felt the contact and then made use of the boards on that side.
I'm not so sure he ran into the boards himself there, but he, as you said, Art, he has a knack for drawing those penalties to the board. I thought Brian Lofton was one of the best I ever saw at doing that, but Chino is approaching that sort of level.
That play started after a fantastic save by Josh Lemos. Doesn't matter tonight, right, left, up, down. Lemos has been on fire in the Wave net.
He has put on a clinic tonight.
And the clock started, Tom. They're gonna need to reset that to 2 minutes on the power play. Right now it's at 1:57.
Penalty was at 7:42. So 3 more seconds need to be put back on. You saw Rayleigh's reaction. That pretty much tells it all from his perspective.
Well, Tom, remember though, when you're running at full speed and you use that hand to push off a guy running at full speed, it doesn't take much.
Now, that's a good point. That is a good point. Any touch is a forceful one. When a guy's running up along the board, however fast he was going, 20 miles an hour.
Too. The Blast with 2 power plays in the first half, and it was going to come back the Waves' way. The Baltimore Blast, the least penalized team in the Major Arena Soccer League.
Here's Max. Lays it off. Vega runs through, but couldn't get it back to him. Matos with it. Looking back for Vega. Healy able to break up that pass as Matos heads it back. The Blast so far this year does not have any shorthand goals. They could really use one right now. Mello to the corner. Cut off by a couple of defenders. Trying to draw the call. He's not going to get it as Matos digs it out for Ferdinand.
And if you're the Wave with 6:30 here, up 3, you're looking for your dagger right here.
And it looks like the Florida Tropics have tied it up down in Lakeland. Florida and San Diego tied at 4. Max gets it back in the corner. See what he can do here. Trying to work it in tight. Slide it to Bennett. Shot to goal! Oh, Vega, what a touch on the pass for Bennett. Milwaukee leads it 4-0.
Eye plush with number 47 on the year. The Wave on the power play, and they have cashed in on the special teams here in the 4th quarter. A restart goal by Matos, and now the power play goal by Bennett. And that could be your dagger, Tom. Wave up 4 with just over 5 left here in the 4th.
I don't know if Wayne Larrabee's here tonight, but I think he'd echo your sentiments, Art. Boy, what a touch on that pass by Vega. Beautifully placed off the inboard at just the right angle to get it between Capinos and Santana. And there was Ian at the doorstep to put it in, number 46 on the year. Number 2 in the league in goals scored, number 2 in the league in total scoring. And Guilherme Vega, who has really picked up the offense as of late, gets his 9th assist and 14th point. Huge, huge goal. I'm sure to the Blast, that probably felt like about 3 goals going into the net right there. And it looks like we're going to have a Baltimore penalty. Joey Capinos apparently getting a misconduct call after the play. As public address announcer Van McNeil explains it.
And you see Capinos there. Daniel Peruzzi, the guy that went over to serve the penalty, frustrated that he has to go serve it.
Meanwhile, down in Lakeland, Sockers come right back to score to make it 5-4. Not sure how much time is left in the game. They don't show the clock time down in Lakeland. Somewhere else, I think it's Ontario, they do that as well. And really inconvenient as a viewer, let's put it that way. Otherwise, the production not too bad. Well, Ontario, it's decent. Florida, they still need to fine-tune it a little bit. Blast is going to call time now with 5:49 left to go, and the Wave leading it 4-0, and the crowd is on its feet at Panther Arena.
Always go back and review these games after the fact, Tom, and can't be certain, but there's a guy we haven't seen much in the second half. Wearing number 78 down there on that Baltimore Blast bench. Nelson Santana. And I don't know if it's just because we've had some power plays and such, but right now, if you look down there, Tom, to the Blast bench, all the players huddled around Danny Kelly. And look at number 78 by himself on the end of the bench.
He might be in the sulking booth down there. Well, let's see if the Blast, do you go sixth attacker? I guess you do, huh? There's only 5:49 to go. And with the lack of offensive opportunity for Baltimore here in the second half, fourth quarter, I guess it's time. Got nothing to lose.
Oh, absolutely. You've got to go sixth attacker.
Looks like Pat Healy has donned the jersey. And so Blast got some work to do, trailing by 4 with 5:49 left to go. And meanwhile, it's all over in Lakeland. So that goal scored by San Diego had to come very late. The Tropics got the sixth attacker on, came back. Looked like Salas had a shot somewhere in the penalty area, but couldn't get it to go. And that was it. San Diego sweeps 2 from Florida. Big weekend for the Sockers as they fine-tune their game heading into the playoffs.
Look at the teams from the Midwest and out east, and anytime you have a chance to go to Florida or San Diego, you're like, all right, trip to the warm weather.
That's almost unfair that they get to play each other.
Yeah, if you're in San Diego, you're like, oh, great, we get to go across the country to Florida.
Not as much intrigue for San Diego on that trip. All right, here come the Blast. Sixth attacker, Pat Healy, as they move it left to right. First thing they got to do is try and get on the board.
And the Wave, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, but I believe the Wave has shut out the Blast in the past. Didn't we open the season one year in Baltimore with a shutout over the Blast?
I would have to look it up, Art. I remember the shutout in Monterey to start the year. Here's Ian Bennett. Ian, one of the greatest empty net finishers of all time, gets the ball back from Leite. Ian fires a shot off the post. Oh, no way. Healy was going to stop that, but Bennett couldn't quite get it inside that left post.
7,000 people jumped out of their seats on that one as the ball rang off the far post.
Healy, not only is he an excellent sixth attacker, but he's a very adept shot stopper as well. But he wasn't going to stop that one.
Got to say, his sixth attacker jersey is a nice compliment to the Wave unis.
Wave ought to make a deal for that jersey there. Mello to the near side. Works it across. Donatelli. Now Hoxie tried to turn. Good defense there by Bennett. Ian comes up with a block on Donatelli. Ian has been flying around defensively tonight, both on the penalty kill and now the sixth attacker. Of course, he's noted for his offense, but tremendous defensive presence as well. Blast continue to work it patiently. We still got 3:45 to go, but there has to be some urgency for them to at least get a goal here. Santos flips it over the top. Bennett. Ian coming near side is nudged down by Donatelli, kind of slipping. They play on.
He slipped on the turf there, right in front of the Blast bench. Good vision that time by Santos to play Bennett forward.
Dantas with it. Grable is right there with him. Now Dantas centering across. And the attempt, Donatelli could not get the foot on the ball there as that one skipped by him. Pass to the middle, broken up. Leite keeps it going. Now Vega. Guilherme trying to send it long, but Healy had the angle on the play and knocks it down. Wave changes with Bennett coming out, Andre Hain coming in. Andre again, good range for a big guy. That's why he's always a good guy to have out there at the top if you can use him. Off the inboard in front, Donatelli, shot blocked in the middle. That might have been Hain. Now near wing, Dantas, Vinny trying to get through. Banging bodies, and it comes for a shot and a goal. And the mustachioed marauder, Andrew Hoxie, puts it in. 4-1, Milwaukee still leading.
Josh Lemos doing everything and then some to try to preserve the shutout, but couldn't come across and keep that one out of the back of the net.
Hoxie, the veteran from William & Mary, his 6th season overall, 4th with the Blast. And he's got his 12th goal of the year, also has 7 assists for 19 points. Didn't see who, somebody's got to get credit for an assist in there. Boy, you said it, Art. Lemos, just a great effort here tonight. And I would argue, even though we had a shutout earlier this year, this would have been probably twice the effort to get it here tonight had he done it against the Blast. When Syracuse came in, they didn't put up nearly the threat to score during that game that Baltimore has.
He's made a huge volume of saves tonight, and many of spectacular variety tonight. Josh Lemos in the net for the Wave. And a really intelligent timeout here by Giuliano Oliviero, because that Wave 6 attacker defense unit is tired, and Giuliano smartly using his timeout here, making sure the Wave doesn't give away another quick one to bring Baltimore back in the game with just over 2:20 left to play.
By the way, Ian Bennett, when he scored the goal to make it 4-0 at 8:51 on the power play, that was Ian's 46th of the year, his 12th power play goal to top the league. So he continues to just be a major force on the Waves power play, as Milwaukee now 1 for 2 on the power play tonight, 20 for 44 on the year. That was only the 6th power play goal yielded by the Blast and 23 times shorthanded. Here's Marcio Leite getting tripped down after the Wave kicks off, as Juan Pereira gets called for the foul. Check it out again. Pereira, a little bit too much body there as he tried to get it away from Marcio. So the Wave going on the road to Baltimore and Syracuse next weekend. Friday night in Baltimore, Sunday in Syracuse. As a foul is called, Andre Hain knocked down by Dos Santos. Dos Santos will not be playing Friday night for the Blast against the Wave. He'll be out due to penalty point accumulation. He would have been out tonight, but again, if you're in the middle of the road trip of the MASL, you do not have to sit until you get back home.
Giuliano alluded to it at halftime time about playing smarter in the second half. And the Wave has executed what Giuliano gave to them at halftime. It was obvious possession was a key ingredient for the success here.
Well, first half possession wasn't bad, but second half has really been outstanding for the Wave. Donatelli down low, Hoxie off the inboard. Healy, the 6th attacker, tees one up, Hain with a block. That's Andre's 2nd block since he came on as 6th attacker defense. Now taken away. Marcio looking for the empty net. This one's got a chance. There it is. Marcio, and the Wave leads it 5-1, and that should wrap it up.
Talked in the pregame about the importance of Marcio Leite and Max Ferdinand lighting the lamp, and both players have done so tonight against the defending champion Blast. You give Marcio that open net, that technical Brazilian's not going to miss many times. He didn't that time. That's going to seal the deal here. As number 77, the Blast fans know him well. If there's ever been a Blast killer over the years, it's that guy, number 77.
Boy, especially going back to that 10-11 playoff series, the final game in Baltimore. Well, that was the only game of the series, and Marcio took control with a couple of three-pointers.
Marcio, Greg Howes, two guys that come to mind on being a thorn in the Blast side, that's for sure.
Time of the goal at 13:38 for Leite, his 16th of the year. So Marcio with a goal and an assist tonight.
Now we may have to order up some wings and pizza next weekend, Tom.
You know it. You know it. Some few viewing parties probably going on next week for Big Game Friday. Into the middle and a lunging effort that time by Isaac Pereira, seeing his first shift. Isaac, the rookie from Mexico.
So if you're going 3 stars tonight, Tom, it's got to be Lemos #1 for sure. I'd put Chino in there somewhere. I thought Chino had an outstanding game tonight. Got the Wave on the board early. And then probably Marcio or Max, maybe. There's a host of guys defensively that have played well.
We'll see who our PCI hardest working player of the game is going to be. Stick around.
It's got to be Josh, no?
I would have to agree with that. All right, after the shot block, Ian running upfield. And the foul is called. Donatelli called the foul. You know, it's almost like they didn't really want to call the foul, but they sort of had to. And
yeah, but, you know, the Blast players have to understand that there's points accumulating with every blue and yellow card. This game's gone. There's 52 seconds left. And for Melo to keep arguing about the calls right now, it's over.
Yeah,
it's over. Why do you want to accumulate points?
Accumulate points and lighten the wallet.
That's right.
So, and you can see
he's still going at it with Rich Grady.
Not a very happy Baltimore Blast camp tonight, but they did a great job to split the 2 games in Milwaukee. So,
and I get it, Tom, as a former player, I understand the emotions that go into it, but remember, this team, the Blast, is the least penalized team in the MASL by far, man, by far. It's not even close.
Marcio got called for, well, he was not called for a foul. He just deflected into the stands. I think what Marcio was saying that was not an intentional clearance into the stands. It should have been a kick in from the side, but nonetheless, Blast will restart top of the arc, looking to get a consolation goal here. And Lemos is not going to allow that. At least for now. Wave trying to poke it out to midfield. Santos has got it. Jonathan, nice work there. As Milwaukee moves it up. Now Bennett trying to run onto him. Donatelli is not going to let him get it. Tony Donatelli, great hustle to get back there and deny Ian Bennett. And Danta says that's it, and that's it. Fans come to their feet here at Panther Arena. Ian Bennett and the Milwaukee Wave with a big win over the Baltimore Blast. Season series now even at 1 apiece with the 3rd and final game coming up Friday night in Baltimore. Wave improves its record now to 15-4, 9-1 here at home. And Baltimore drops to 15-4, 6-4 on the road. Josh Lemos coming within 2.5 minutes of getting his 2nd shutout on the year. Remember, only he and Chris Toth from San Diego have recorded the only shutouts so far this year. And Just a huge win for the Wave over Baltimore. Milwaukee now 33-11 all-time regular season against the Blast on its home turf. Well-deserved victory for Coach Giuliano Oliviero and company here. Wave also leads the all-time season series against the Blast, 52-37. So the game coming up Friday night in Baltimore will be the 90th regular season matchup between the clubs. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that game Friday night, Art. I think that's going to be another good one in this series between the Wave and the Blast.
It's going to be interesting to see what adjustments Danny Kelly makes now. So Giuliano Oliviero had a chance to train his team this past week after a 6-5 loss, comes back. Great effort tonight by the Wave. And now Danny Kelly's got a shot here. Two great coaches, two great teams, two great organizations. So much fun watching the Blast and Wave go at it.
And they will do so again Friday nights at the Seco Arena in Towson, Maryland. Wave will then be on the road Sunday to take on the Syracuse Silver Knights at the On Center in Syracuse, New York. It's actually Sunday afternoon at 3:05 Central Time, 4:05 Eastern. And then back home here to host the Florida Tropics in the regular season home finale on Saturday, March 3rd at 6:05 p.m. Call the Wave office for tickets, 414-224-WAVE. And let's go down to Van McNeil.
Player of the game, goalkeeper number 30, Josh Lemos. Josh, you had a great game tonight, holding Baltimore scoreless for 57 minutes of this game. I know it's got to be a little disappointing, but a win's a win, right?
There's nothing disappointing about today. We had a great turnout with the fans. They were awesome as always. We got the win, so nothing to be upset about.
So Baltimore last week, they won. We win tonight. Now next week, we go to Baltimore's turf. Are we ready for that matchup?
What do you think? Yeah, I think we're ready.
Yes.
I think we're ready. We'll be ready. We have no choice. We'll be there.
Josh Lemos, our hardest working player of the game. Give it up, Wave fans. Great game today, Josh. Thank you. Congratulations.
Lucia, that was for your grandfather. Rest in peace.
All right, our hardest working player of the game, Professional Construction Incorporated. They are proud sponsors of Milwaukee Wave Soccer. Find out more at WIPCI.com. For the entire crew here at UW Milwaukee Panther Arena, my name is Van McNeil. Final score, Wave 5, Blast 1. Good night, everybody.